Yeah. Uh-huh.
I can repeat myself. Just ask my wife.
Okay. Yeah.
We're recording now.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
yeah,
like
you
the
got
lid there, man.
Should I do the
Well,
intro?
if we're recording, I got to come with the cool shades on.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should
Mine
I
off
do the
altogether.
intro first, or
Yeah, let's
Okay.
think about it. We're going to get
this is
this is Tim
is
O'Connor.
Is this an audible?
This is Aaron's
the,
audio audible.
Okay.
19 Crimes Cali Red with Snoop Dogg on the label.
All right.
Oh,
Is it
right. Yeah.
good?
Very nice.
Is it good?
It's pretty good, actually. Yeah, I hadn't given it thought until you asked.
Doesn't he like have? Isn't he like a? I think he and Martha are partners in a wine place or a.
They could be, but this is
Yeah.
different. This is the 99 Crimes. Did I say 19? I meant 99.
Uh-huh.
I've seen
No,
that.
it is 19, I guess, but it's mostly serial killers and stuff.
Oh, okay.
And he did kill a guy, didn't he?
I think so.
Snoop, yeah.
Yeah.
It was self-defense, though. It was ruled
Yeah.
self-defense in court.
Murder was the case that they gave him.
Mhm.
Right.
Got him on a label, though.
Yeah.
Wine
Yeah.
label of criminals.
I
Well,
think
that's where you see that thing where they make him seem all wholesome. And then there's this meme where it says only one of these people is a felon.
Right.
he's got to be the most personable murderer. Well, I don't,
Yeah.
he wasn't convicted though, right?
Right. No,
wasn't.
it was
Self-defense.
self-defense.
Self-defense. Okay.
Yeah.
Never
What is
mind
it?
then.
Okay. Welcome, gentle listeners to YUH, and we have another Aaron's Audibles. So welcome Aaron and our guest, Tim Connor, who is
O'Connor.
Yeah.
Tim O'Connor. I
It's
apologize.
Aaron's audio audibles and Tim
Okay.
O'Connor.
Okay, we'll start over.
Started.
Welcome once again to YUH and an episode of Aaron's Audio Audibles. Thank you for being with us, Aaron, and thank you for suggesting this particular line of podcasts. And welcome our guest, Tim O'Connor, who is a super fan of our subject today. And that subject is Todd Rundgren's A Wizard, a True Star. That's the album we're going over today.
Welcome to.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you, Tim. As always.
Good to see you too, Aaron. Yeah.
Love the shades. Love the hat.
Album cover up again. That's
Yeah.
very
Let's get that on the recording so Philip can use it in
All
the
right.
in teasers.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is it. This is the original first Wizard of True Star.
I like the way the corners are.
Yeah, and actually, let me switch cameras here if you don't mind. And
Not at all.
I've got a document camera that'll do a better job of portrait of this sort of thing here.
Right.
If
But
I don't
to
lose my
explain
mouse.
it's die cut, and it's kind of follows the artwork, right?
Yeah, and so this we could probably do a whole show just talking about the all the stuff with the album cover here. Let me see if I can back that up a little bit. Get the crap off my desk. Whoops. Can you guys still see my video?
Paper.
There we go.
Yeah.
I see
Okay, all right.
the top of the album.
a little bit of
Yeah.
shake there in the crease.
Yeah,
But
trying to
Let's
a little bit better there.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about the light. Maybe I can
No,
take
that's
care
cool.
of that in a minute. So so it's as die cut. Now, you guys that have,
Yeah, show lift it a little higher. We can't see the lower left corner.
well, yeah, I'll move it around here. I'll take
Okay.
you on a tour of it. So who knows who wants to introduce everybody's records for the listeners there?
oh yeah.
Oh,
perfect.
yeah.
Bill will
Everybody's
take that.
is where everybody goes if they really want good records. It's a Cincinnati staple for music lovers.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So
great
this-
record
this-
store.
This album didn't sell well, so that's why it's got $1.99 on it.
Wow.
Sweet.
Yeah,
That's probably
and-
also why it didn't have the Band-Aid.
Yeah, well, no, this had the Band-Aid and
it did
the
have the
Patti
Band-Aid.
Smith bit. Yeah, and I've got it around somewhere. I took it out for safekeeping, and as with everything that happens, I take
You
out
hid
for
it from yourself?
safekeeping. And it is now, don't know where it is.
Mysteriously safe.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I
From-
say.
It's
Even
safe,
from
but
me.
lost. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So it's gonna you know, so the idea, at least now we didn't have Wikipedia and stuff when I was exposed to this. So, you know, everything was, you found out from other people. So, you know, supposedly we were supposed to do mushrooms or whatever, and then
that's not happening.
spend your time listening to the album. And, you know, it could take you decades to make it through all the different knickknacks and visuals and stuff on this, you know, on the inside of the album, the back of the album, and then the record itself has handwritten in Todd's handwriting the lyrics to all the songs.
Oh, wow.
Or I should say to the album itself, and some little artwork and little bits, and then of course then inlaid with again a bunch of also very surrealistic arrangement of pictures there, and then
Images.
So I know
Yeah.
the cover, Arthur
Then-
Wood is the artist, right? That's what I read.
yes, that's correct. Yes, yeah, and he's apparently he hid some stuff on there that Todd doesn't even know about, supposedly. So
That's nice.
yeah, and then here's the Bearsville label.
Todd says he thinks it was like coded messages to his girlfriend or something.
Yeah.
Todd's girlfriend or the artists?
The artists.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, but he intentionally told Todd so he wouldn't know, or didn't tell Todd so he wouldn't know, or Todd didn't want to know, one or the other.
Yeah. So did he do all the work on the inside of the interior of the album, or
The
is that-
sleeve,
yeah?
the jacket, whatever you call it.
Is it just
That's my understanding. Yeah. So again, I didn't have Wiki back then. Everything I got was from anecdotally from other
right?
you know, fans and stuff like that, and you know, it's the old monkey chain kind of thing. You know, there's a little, sometimes there's embellishment and sometimes there isn't. So you know, but that's my understanding from the time of the
And
listening
memory can be faulty, especially when you're, I would think, especially when you're following the directions and taking mushrooms while listening to it.
That's right. Well, I'm not saying that I did that. I was just saying that was the intent. So
I'm not accusing you. I'm just saying.
I know. Yeah. I
That's
work in security here. The last thing I'm going to do is talk about felonies here. So
Is it a felony to take mushrooms?
I believe
Depends
it
on the
is.
state you're in.
Yeah. It's
In
federally,
Ohio.
it is. Yeah. Well, the states federally.
Okay, then
you
my
know,
brother needs to stop.
I think in
Federally,
Oregon,
it's still
legal.
a class something another substance, and I'm a pilot, so we don't do that stuff because we're pilots. And
My brother is my
we care
brother's
about
a
the
trainer in
feds.
society, so he does drugs.
Mhm.
He's a trainer. Yeah, it's
He certainly drains my energy.
it's the family holiday of
Yeah,
Thanksgiving.
happy Thanksgiving indeed.
And you're not, I'm leaving the state and he's not.
Yeah.
So he's cooking for his ex-wife.
Well,
Aaron, where are your hats? I have hats. They have hats. Aaron, where's your hats?
Yep, he'll be back.
Uh-huh.
We got
All
this
right.
one right here when we saw Aaron in California.
Yep.
Nice.
We went to or I think it was that little town we went through, Calico.
Yeah.
There we go. I feel
Yeah.
much better
Yeah.
now. Yeah. Okay. There
All right.
we
Is
are.
that better?
Yes.
That's yes. Yeah.
Because we all know you have to hear the hats.
A lot of
right?
people don't even really pay attention to that background. And Philip does something different every time.
Yeah. So the
This time I
album.
bet I predict hats.
So,
Hats
Tim.
and mushrooms.
Yes.
how did you discover this album? I mean, like you said, I don't know when it was released. It may not have been.
Yeah.
Actually,
How
maybe
how
what
much-
was your introduction to Todd? first?
Yeah, that's probably where we have to go, and I will attempt to make it succinct here. So the first concert I saw in my entire life was Todd Rundgren and Utopia playing at the Ohio State Fair, and that was like 1980, and you know, they
You're same age as me and Phil, I think. Right?
yeah, that's
I'm
right.
older than you.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So
I'm
and
56.
yeah. And at the time, you know, I was very much into, philosophy, and I was just kind of like unshackling myself from the, Catholic theology. And so I was endlessly interested in, I was taking a minor in philosophy in college before, after that, at the time, I think it was, so it was interesting because, their lyrics and what they were talking about was something other than just what everything else was that seemed to be music at the time, which was like, just love and love and love. Yeah. It was talked about other topics. It talked about philosophy and thinking and politics. And so I immediately became interested and engaged in that. And so again, I'll try and be brief, and perhaps I can expound later when we hit particular topics of interest. But I began
Utopia show in the mid '80s.
Yep.
At Ohio State Fair, Columbus.
That's right. Yeah. And so I started following them, and I don't know how many concerts I saw. I think somewhere between 60 and 80 would be my best guess.
Wow.
So I kind of stopped everything, and some of our other friends, we would carpool, and there'd be like 10 of us all sleeping in a hotel room, one hotel room at night, pooling our funds and eating crackers and
nothing
doing
new
whatever.
to Fish fans.
Yeah.
Deadheads.
So so we felt a kinship with Deadheads. Except we felt that we were just a little bit more intellectual and techie than the Deadheads.
You were more highbrow than the Deadheads.
I wouldn't say highbrow, but we had a purpose because we were going to change the world, and that was the big thing for me, because I wanted to change the world. I saw a lot of things wrong, and wanted to be a part of making things better. And that exactly is hit my button, and what started the whole thing and kept it going for a long time, and until I finally got to the point where I realized that really wasn't going to happen through Todd and Utopia, and I had to act on that elsewhere.
Okay.
I am very, very cold right now.
Yeah.
And that is why I am,
Yeah, she's
covering myself.
Okay, like doing the Baby Yoda thing there.
No, I'm just really cold for some reason.
Yeah, it just rushes up on her.
Yeah. Well, ever since they took out my uterus, I have cold flashes instead of hot flashes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Apparently, I asked, and they said it's about 25% of women. So we can edit that part out.
Yeah, I will.
But so I'm literally freezing because I'm having what amounts to a hot flash.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Literally was not happening when we started here just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, it was starting to get cold when I sat down.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right. So let me just give a little background on what I read. I like to give a little background on the artist when we do this.
Let's get Phil's research.
Yeah.
So, not a knock on Phil, but to rip off another podcast. Here's our half-ass internet research.
A Wikipedia Marin type.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I've got about a dozen of my former concert shirts behind me. That's been made into. My wife made them into
a quilt,
a sort of like a quilt cover for my closet, because the fact that I was taking up an entire drawer full of concert T-shirts and I never wore any of them was irritating her. So we had to do something. We had to do something useful with them, and I'm very happy with the outcome. I was a little concerned at first when she was taking a scissors to these things, but it turned out very well. So I'm
it looks good. It's good.
I was thinking about doing that with some of Philip's older shirts.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably I'll have to take the other camera over if we want to see them later. But you go ahead.
We can see them pretty good.
Yeah.
The blue, is that the ocean?
So it's not all Todd Rundgren shirts, right?
No, we've got Over the Rhine and The Who, and a few others here. So this is a special one here. This is Wizard of True Star. I don't know if you can see that there.
Oh,
wow.
So there were no Wizard T-shirts available, and a friend of mine, Dan Mishler, he ran across this company that did this weird thing where you sent them an actual album, and they would freeze it or something and scrape off just like the ink portion, and then put it in plastic and make a T-shirt out of that. And so it was sacrilege. I had to go find
is that backwards too?
It should be the same as the L. No, it's actually, it is. It is backwards. It's a mirror image. I never realized that. No, it's the back of the album. It's the back. Yeah,
that's right.
So I had to keep from committing sacrilege. I had to kept going to everybody's records and going through what they used to. I don't know if they still have it. They had something called the dollar rack. Where they had all these kind of records that they got for whatever reason, but couldn't sell them for a reasonable price. They just wanted to get rid of them, so they charged for $1 for each one of them. So they had the dollar rack, and there was a scratched version of it. One of the vinyl was scratched up, but the cover was still good, and that's how that T-shirt came to be.
Sweet. Nice
Dollar well
nice
spent.
collection there. Yeah. All right. So, went to high. We will start when he was born, but we'll start with where he went to high school.
Oh, you're going back full on Todd, just not the album. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. We got to do it right. We got to act like nobody's heard of this guy before,
Right.
even though we know they have. We're going to try to speak to the
I'm going to settle in.
plebeian audience here. Okay. So he went to the
Trust
same.
me, there's a lot of people that haven't heard of Todd. I've been battling that for decades.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was my first listen.
In fact, Marin had to do a little research before he had him on. He was intimidated by, his reputation as a producer and stuff like that. Felt like he really had to dig into his past before he could have him on, because of basically he was concerned about the number of his fans that would catch him in his errant, any kind of errant points that he made or whatever. But he went to the same high school as Jim Croce and Tina Fey, right outside of Philadelphia.
I wonder if there was a music teacher there,
I don't know about a music teacher, but he was inspired by the Ventures. He's another one of these guys that heard Walk, Don't Run, and the guitar work on that, became manifested in his talent. Let's see. He performed in a psychedelic band named Naz, which formed in Philadelphia around 1967. The album we're doing today, A Wizard, A True Star, was released in March of 1973. His work seems to straddle prog and psychedelic genres, although in that interview I listened to with Marin,
pop too.
He doesn't like to be defined by any genres. He's really a free form artist. So successful, his success as a producer is what he attributes to him being able to go off and be completely independent creatively with his music, because he made enough money to be, wealthy as a producer. He produced albums for XTC.
Yep, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Let's see. There's some other.
The list is very long.
Very long.
All the Notes, New York Dolls, The Tubes, Grand Funk.
Meatloaf is a big important one. That's where he got. Meatloaf was a big chunk of change.
He did Bat Out of Hell, right?
Yep, and if you look at who played on the album, it's basically Utopia.
Yeah. So yeah, he made enough money with that his music became completely
unnecessary for financial reasons.
Right. He played in David Bowie's band during the Thin White Duke era, which is
New York Dolls.
Let's Dance. I guess that kind of era. He wasn't the Ziggy Stardust. But
Would have been
Sean
before
Cassidy.
Let's Dance, I think. Yeah.
Sean Cassidy.
Oh, okay. I think it's him. Did you know that he his pants fell off at the concert here in Cincinnati, and people thought it was shorts, but it was his underwear.
Yeah.
Sean
And
Cassidy.
he just kept singing and pretended, it wasn't a big deal. And it wasn't even the news the next day. But I was at the concert.
Huh. That's interesting. Yeah.
Crazy.
His previous album was a little bit more conventional pop album. Something Anything.
This is the follow-up to Something Anything. Right?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't call it a follow-up. It came after Something Anything.
I wouldn't call it the follow-up, but sequentially the next album.
Yes. Yeah. That would be how.
And when this album was, he was away making this album is when Hello, It's Me hit the charts, and they wanted another Something Anything, and he wouldn't give it to.
Yeah, every album he makes tends to be significantly different from the rest, which makes it difficult for some people to follow him because you want to love everything, but eventually you're going to find something that doesn't quite, sync with your personal taste, and that's okay. You let those go. But his personal job, one of them supposedly anyway, is to go off and explore, and he can't be exploring if he's just doing the same thing over and over again. So you expect something different from every album, except for he ought to do two of them alike, just so that, because you're expecting something different, so you can have something alike, so you get into the catch-22 there. But yes, so that's something very admirable and very Buddhist, to change like that and explore and do something new and different and grow every time.
Electronic dance music, he does that, right? I mean, that's part of his
Some of it.
The iTodd.
Not to skip over large, high points of his career, but just to kind of wrap it up here, currently he's touring with Daryl Hall. They're doing a David Bowie tribute tour.
Yeah, I had tickets, and apparently he came down with laryngitis the day of, and so supposedly it's going to be rescheduled. But it was like walking distance in the next building over from where I work in downtown Cincinnati at the Taft, and we found out just a couple hours before we're going to drive down that it had been canceled.
Oh, that's too bad. Yeah,
they'll be back. They'll
rescheduled, I should say, but yeah.
And he's hot and cold about Bowie. He likes like the old stuff. He loves Ziggy Stardust, but he feels like a lot of the later stuff,
say this up front, Todd is opinionated and grumpy.
Yes. Yep. I have to agree with that. I can confirm.
Like Golden Years and stuff, he didn't feel like it was dynamic enough that Bowie tended to get more influenced by what's trendy and fashionable and not what's truly creative. But
and if Todd is pretty quick with the criticism of all sorts of folks. And are we going to touch on the John Lennon stuff later?
We'll get to that.
Okay, I'll say
that during Rock and Roll Pussy, I'm sure.
Yeah, because as a lifelong Todd fan and fanatic, at one point a fanatic, but fan, I've got some criticism myself. So we'll see if he can dish it out and take it.
All right. And Lisa will be looking forward to that too. She has her own axe to grind with John. So I wanted to let you guys, you and Aaron, or you, Tim, talk about this album. We're zeroing in on this album, A Wizard, A True Star, and there are some technical issues with vinyl that impacted this album, and I thought you guys might be better versed or more versed in that than I am to discuss that. So
I'm not an
one of the
audiophile.
longest running albums of single disc,
but it came at a price.
Yeah, the grooves are closer together, and that makes the volume and the general sound
and the quality.
Lower.
That's right.
So
go for
listen to the remastered version.
That's what you want to do. Yes. Yeah. Headsets on. Yeah. Headphones.
Didn't you say that he mentioned that actually on the album? Like if you read the liner notes, there's something in here about that.
That's what it says in Wikipedia. Yeah. He said to compensate, turn up the volume.
Yeah.
That's not a thing.
That's not a thing.
No.
Lisa doesn't.
Philip always says that, but that's not a thing. I know you guys had a music teacher who told you to turn up the volume, but
I don't know that we did.
20 years when it's too loud.
Yeah. Mrs. White, I can't imagine her telling me to turn up the volume.
No, it was a guy.
Yeah.
It was a male, maybe in high
I think it
school.
was my boss.
Oh,
I don't think
okay.
I ever had a male music teacher.
Okay, never mind then. But I thought you said it was your music teacher.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think I did. I think I did hear it.
But that was an error. It might have been someone else.
Yeah.
Well, it was a man. That's all that matters.
Yeah. That's all I listened to anyway. So
Yeah.
I never had a music teacher of any kind.
Music teachers heard me sing and suggested that I stop going to the music classes.
You didn't have elementary school music teacher?
I did, but I don't think that counted. You just, that was a little,
We had middle school music teachers too.
Mm.
Yeah, all the music teachers suggested I go into the art classes.
Mm.
So,
That's-
so typically,
that's probably the what I would have gotten too, because remember Steve Martin and the Jerk, my
The rhythm.
my
Yeah.
and until I started doing 40s and 20s swing dancing and stuff, I was unable to keep a rhythm, but now I can, surprisingly, at least to swing
Yeah,
music.
I've got rhythm out the
It's
wazoo,
learnable.
but my singing voice is atrocious, and I'm tone deaf. So
Mm.
I could do drums. That's about it.
so typically on these episodes, we'll take it track by track by track. Now we have 19 not tracks. Yeah, right off the top, I know Tim has issue with me even stating it.
Objection.
Yeah.
Objection.
Todd meant for
Right.
this to be listened to as a whole album. That's why there's no singles.
This is one piece of work.
Right. So we'll refer to them as movements, or maybe you'll provide us a
Yeah, what
a
we
better
We
way,
could call them tracks because that's what they are on the CD.
or interludes. But we
Why don't we
Index.
just say next?
Indices.
I like that.
transitions.
Indices,
What do you go?
indices,
Yeah.
Indices?
Indexes. Indices.
Okay.
Yeah.
Indices. Okay.
okay.
But and when you listen to it, because I've listened to the album 4 times. The first 3 times I listened to it indices at a time, one indice at a time. Or one indice at a time.
You're supposed to just let it roll. You can do one side at a time.
Yeah. So
But-
eventually I found a copy online where somebody had taken the original album and
YouTube.
You
entirely.
didn't just do it on Spotify?
No, because
No
when I
free
hit
ads for
Spotify, it
Oh yeah,
was,
we are sponsored by
no, it
Spotify,
was
so
all,
we are.
no, it was not the whole
Are we?
album. It was like all his work. It was like Todd
Oh.
Rundgren radio or something.
I found it on Spotify, at least
I
today.
just used
did.
Amazon Music when I was working in the shop yesterday and said, play the album. and
It's
played the
I found a
album.
button that said discography, and then
It wouldn't give us the album. It just gave us a channel based on him.
Yeah.
Oh, you must be using the free version.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't
absolutely.
pay for the music.
Okay.
We're only paying $136 for shipping, so
Yeah.
that's how much Prime is. Well,
Yeah,
we get the movies and we get the TV shows, so it's kind of worth it.
So
But I mean, that's a year, not a month. And we
Right.
were paying that much for cable a month.
you know what? It might be on Amazon Music too.
It is on Amazon Music.
so we
Just you have to pay for the special.
Right.
one.
Correct.
Well,
Mm.
I don't.
We found
I
it on
mean,
YouTube.
Amazon Music, when you
well.
have Prime, has a certain amount of music you're entitled to listen to.
Right, right. This was not on that.
No.
The free.
Not
Oh.
free, but Prime.
Right, right.
So I did finally listen to a fluid version of the vinyl. It sounded like somebody had put one out there. So, so International Feel was the very opening of the album. And I thought that was
Really?
kind of
Side one, I guess, if we back up a little more. Sorry to cut you off. But,
no, that's fine. That's fine.
It's called what? The International Feel in 8.
Mhm. Correct.
He's got a title for each side. Side 2 is a true star.
Okay. Okay. Sounds a little bit like Space Invaders when it kicks off. I'm thinking immediately, okay, this is the era that you started.
Yeah, and I was certainly inspired by that. And with me and my Apple II, I made a video to International Feel
Yeah,
back
Well,
in the
it's-
day. Mhm.
that's right. You were going to mention that you may have authored the first music video of all time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think my friend David Goldschmidt, who Aaron knows,
Yeah.
may actually have a surviving copy of this, but I don't know. So this was a long time ago, back when VCRs were a piece of furniture and expensive, and my family didn't have one and wasn't going to get one, but I could rent one from what was the name of it? It was in Montgomery. It was like called the movie store, the video store or something. It was in a strip mall in the Kenwood Mall in Kenwood. That's where it was, in the Kenwood Mall. And I rented a VCR, and I only had it for a limited amount of time because it was rented, and I was, didn't have a lot of money. I think I was probably cutting lawns for a living. And I had an Apple II Plus and a bunch of graphics that and one of them was a little dot, and then it turned and grew into a spiral and went through the screen. And so it was just perfect for the beginning of International Feel. And I got a whole bunch of other, at the time, cutting edge trippy graphics for the Apple II. And I rented the VCR, and I put the tape in, and I was putting the music off to the tape, and I was making my own first, computer generated video. And at least I'd never seen one before. Then I found out, to my great horror, that when you stop and pause and start again, because I had to switch programs, I had to run programs to do the graphics, that it made this terrible glitch. It was like, and you couldn't really just stop it like you could an audio cassette very cleanly and start and stop again. I thought it would work like an audio cassette, and I made all kinds of tapes and on audio cassette that the cuts worked really well, and so that wasn't working. So I figured out that I had to do it live. I had to just keep recording while I had the stereo blasting in my room and doing the graphics on the Apple II computer. So I had to work out and actually script it to go along. It was terribly difficult, and I barely
DJing.
Yeah. So it got rougher than I had originally imagined, but I had a few minutes of Todd Rundgren, Wizard of True Star, the International Feel side, done to Apple II computer graphics on a VHS cassette. And
cool.
That's pretty cool.
I think that was before MTV. So.
Oh yeah, if I'd be interested in seeing that. We could convert that into a good TikTok video for this episode.
Yeah.
So I've been asking Dave Goldschmidt. He says he's got a copy of it to give me a copy or let me have it back for a little while or something, but it hasn't happened yet.
Still VHS.
Oh yeah. In fact, his might even be a copy of a copy or something. I don't know if the original survives. I know I don't have it.
They do degrade over time.
Let me go ahead and play a little bit of International Feel. All right, that was a good amount.
Good chunk of the vocals there.
Yeah.
And for me, one of the second most important phrase on the whole album is right there. He only wants to see if you'll give up on me. And
I was saying he's predicting utopia, interstellar appeal, universal ideal.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And I'd like to, if we're gonna, I know, or the topic is this particular album, but if we branch off and talk about utopia and stuff,
he's laying the seeds for it here.
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
then
Todd Rundgren's Utopia. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the reprise later, La Feel Internacionale.
Yeah.
He says, Utopia is next year or something like that.
So yeah,
wait another year.
Utopia is here. There you go.
But that's all my International Feel notes.
Mm-hmm. I was supposed to take notes.
The next, no, we just do. We're nerds that way.
Okay.
Yeah, we're nerds.
Phil has to keep track of these 19 songs for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I'm sorry.
What?
These 19 indices, and moving on to the next index is Never Neverland. It segues.
Right.
Well, it doesn't segue because it's the same work.
Thank you.
I know.
Right.
I know.
It seems like
I think I think it's important to explain that again. This is all one piece of work. It's meant to be sat down and listened to it one time. And that it is a journey. It is, I think he described it as like a flight plan or something once.
Yeah.
It's a journey. And at least for me, every single time the journey is different. Different time in my life, different things going on, different whatever. It's a different journey every time. But you know, that's what it is. So if you go and you know, just take a piece of it, it's like, you know, talking about the time we turned left on I-75 South or something. You got to look at it in perspective of the entire journey.
You're only direction number 7 of 12.
Yeah.
Well, Never Neverland lyrics. I mean,
19.
that's a Peter Pan song, right?
Yeah.
From the musical.
Yeah. Originally sung by Mary Martin, which they used to be on annually, you know, like Wizard of Oz. It used to be an annual event.
Peter Pan, it would be on TV.
Right.
Yeah. They stopped Peter Pan, but the Wizard of Oz is still out there.
Right.
Just harder to find.
Yeah.
Well, the third,
at this time too, when Todd was doing this album, he was experimenting for the first time with psychedelics. And he was listening to more prog rock. He was listening to Yes and Frank Zappa and Mahavishnu Orchestra. And he set out to do this different thing. And I think this whole, at least, I think the whole thing does kind of resemble some kind of a trip he's on.
Yeah.
And Never Neverland, it's just starting to take off. And at this point, he's like, I saw a quote where he says this is just like a baby trying to get back to an unimprinted point where all of this input doesn't necessarily have a preconceived meaning. I ran out of.
That definitely sounds like a Todd quote.
Yeah.
Kind of a cerebral artist, you know, kind of challenges you. But the third innocent, what
Index.
The third index here. Tick, 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 it wears off. It's a short instrumental.
The lyrics are simple. Tick, tick, tick.
Yeah. It's kind of a kaleidoscope funhouse effect. Pretty much, I would call it the beginning of the weird a little bit.
Yeah.
This section of the album right here.
Even based on the title of the song, its trip's starting to take off right here. Tick, tick, it wears off.
Right. I guess like when you do an edible, right? It takes a few minutes for
the next one's You Need Your Head.
Yeah.
You Need Your Head, right?
That's when his trip's going full blown.
Yeah, and I saw a live cut of that. It's interesting to see him perform. After hearing the album and never having really seen him perform before, I found a live version of him doing You Need Your Head. And
be curious to know when it was, what era or year.
He was older, I guess. It may have been around 2000, maybe that last tour he did with Yes in 2016 or something. I don't know. Something.
Okay, so it's not that old. I mean, it's
not that old, yeah.
It's not 70s or 80s.
But yeah, you learn. I don't know. You until you see somebody perform live, you really don't have a full picture. You know, the music itself gives you sort of a parallax view.
Guess I didn't disclose my Todd live experiences. I've seen him twice.
Yeah.
Once in I think it's 93 or 94. I'd have to look at that stub. And I sent it to a thread that we were all on earlier. And the other time was Cinco de Mayo 2016. The first one was the Individualist tour, and I saw the Individualist on your quilt there.
Yeah. Yep. It's there.
And that was a cool disc too.
Yeah.
If you put it in a computer, it had all kinds of wild stuff on it. But that's another fish to fry.
Yeah, he did a screensaver and a couple of things during that time frame.
And he had some cool videos and interactives.
Yeah, he's doing a lot of stuff with the that Amiga on video steroids, the video toaster.
And the other time I saw him in 16, I think I said. That was just an evening with Todd Rundgren. It was like between albums, just a tour of kind of hits, jukebox. It was a pretty good show.
Yeah.
He did songs from the medley that I know that Lisa likes.
Yeah, that I liked. And I liked the last song, and not just because it was the last song.
Well, you'll like this song because it's an attack on John Lennon. Because
Well, yeah,
not
I
song,
didn't
this
know
index.
that, so now it might be my favorite.
You'll like this index that we're going to discuss. Because when the experience hits this point of the indices, it's aimed at John Lennon. Will you get your nails dirty, or are you only just a rock and roll pussy? And Phil, if you want to go into the John Lennon feud, did you have notes on
the
that?
limousine radicals?
The limousine radicals, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have a clear picture of how it started, but did it start with this song, or was this a reflection of the
No,
feud?
this was after they saw each other somewhere in New York, and no. Oh, I'll look for it while someone else talks later, and we'll come back to it maybe.
This is where I lodge my complaint, if we want to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, lodge on.
Yeah. So, I spent a great deal of money and time and effort following Todd to concert all around the planet, because, quite clearly, and certainly quite a lot of us could read the intent with the band Utopia and the Utopia Project and everything to try and change things and make a utopian movement or city, or we thought that Todd was maybe going to start something like the Amana colonies, or write some kind of tome, or perhaps run for president was an interesting hypothesis, and all these other things. And so, like I said, I got into Utopia initially because that was what I was interested in, is making a difference and changing the world. And we're just waiting year after year for something to happen, and year after year, nothing was happening. And decades are moving by here, and things changed for me at one point. I was waiting outside of I believe it was in Chicago, but as they all kind of merged together now. But it was below freezing temperatures, and the venue didn't open up until past the time that they were supposed to open. People were worried of people actually getting frostbite. One in, and Todd finally got on stage, and he was so drunk he had to restart like 4 or 5 of his own songs that he wrote. And this isn't the only time it's happened. He would be unprepared for some of his own gigs. And I just came to realize that, I'm waiting around here for this revolution that he isn't going to start. And I realized that Todd kind of became what he was criticizing John Lennon for, which is someone who's got the money and isn't actually going to do what he said.
The specifics now.
Okay, so let me just wrap it up then. So, that I love Todd Rundgren. I believe he's one of the greatest artists that ever lived. His music is philosophical and insightful and moving. And I think it's an interesting experiment to try and change the world with a LP's worth of tunes. But I think that he himself did not, he did pretty much what he's accusing John Lennon of doing, is actually just, he's living in Hawaii now. He owns a tiki bar, and he's not, he didn't actually go out there and put his own, get his own fingernails dirty with changing the world.
Revolution.
Yeah, so that's my big, I wish I would have known that, so that I would have, instead of missing a lot of college classes and some exams, running off to see him in another city because I thought that was the vanguard of changing the world, I could have, gone and joined the Peace Corps, or, finished some college classes or something instead, and made a little bit bigger difference.
Yeah, interesting take. Yeah, a little bit disillusioned.
So my issue with him is he wrote an autobiography, and he didn't include Julian.
He didn't write an autobiography, though.
Okay.
I went looking for it.
Okay.
He wrote 2
There's
books.
a book about him and Yoko. And the
He-
book
He wrote
mentioned
two
Shaw.
nonsense books. He didn't write any nonfiction real books. He wrote like almost children's literature.
This might be a Yoko book then,
Maybe.
but it's about John and Yoko, and it did not include Julian.
Well, to be fair, he kind of got cut short
I'll
with
see
his
if I can find
plans.
Anyway, what he called John Lennon out for was basically John got drunk at some bar and allegedly, or maybe did, maybe didn't hit a waitress.
Oh,
I've heard that rumor before.
And he said in Melody Maker magazine, the first shot came from Todd. It was John Lennon ain't no revolutionary. He's a fucking idiot, man. Shouting about revolution and acting like an ass just makes people feel uncomfortable.
yeah.
Mhm, that's
Wow.
true.
Yeah, that got a little nasty.
Yeah.
And then John penned a letter, right?
John, penned an open lettuce to Sod Runtelstuntel, and then later he called him Turd Rundgren.
Mm. What about the waitress?
Yeah, well, ad hominem is
He denied hitting the waitress, but said he was very drunk.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I mean,
probably
you've
did hit
lost
the waitress.
as soon as you're using ad hominem, you've lost your argument entirely. So
Well, let's play a little.
What's ad hominem?
if when you insult someone or you derade someone that you're having an argument with, as opposed to addressing the core of the argument itself.
You hit a woman. Well, your name's Turd Rundgren.
Yeah. All right, let's play a little bit of rock and roll pussy. then.
And Trump does a lot of that, really.
Mhm.
Let's play a little rock and roll pussy.
Yeah,
It's a very punk song, this one.
Okay.
where's the guitar?
Oh,
There we.
It was earlier.
a little guitar there.
Yeah. It's very The Who.
Mhm.
Yeah, and there's
another Tim's
yeah.
obsessions. when he
That's
was
right.
young.
Yeah.
That's a good obsession. It's a great band.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah, I'd set agree with Aaron though. Yeah, kind of a punk rock feel to that. And it moves to the next index of Dogfight Giggles. Dogfight Giggle.
Yeah.
So
Dogs.
and when I think of this, one thing that goes through my mind: are you guys familiar with the album Acapella that Todd did?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
I've got acapella, and then there's an acapella live.
Okay, so acapella is done with no instruments. It's all his voice, but he does use some digital tools to make changes. Audio changes. It may have been all analog back then, but anyway. But he uses these tools to mess with his voice. But it sounds as if there's a full orchestra sometimes or a band with him, but it's all done through acapella. It's all voice, and I was wondering if maybe that in the Dogfight Giggle, I was wondering how that was done, if that was maybe something portraying what maybe a spark of what later became a cappella. Just one of those thoughts that came to me when listening to the album after a cappella came out.
It could be. There's Phil's note was that it reminded you of the Pink Floyd song on Omagoma, right?
Oh.
Several species of small furry animals
sitting in a
gathered
cave,
together in
grooving
a
with
cave and grooving with a pig.
Right. Yeah.
And it is kind of similar. I bet some of that's the same kind of synthy technique.
Mhm. I feel like
I don't know if it was synthy, but
for those that criticize
the-
the album or might not
similar
like the album, I felt like that this maybe was an index that
that they would point at.
yeah, they
would
might look
indicate.
at it and say that that's
Say,
intentionally
boy,
obtuse.
when the experience hit this index, I really was not comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that
I think Todd wants you to not be comfortable.
Yeah.
Tim's
Oh, he got it.
to Tim's point though, to listen to the whole thing as one work, these interludes come together, they're when you don't isolate them and you listen to them in the context of the whole work, then it's a different listening experience altogether.
The chaos decreases as the record goes.
That is also true. Yeah.
That was helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could look at it as a experiment in entropy that way.
Yeah. So to that point,
And
I'm going to play right now the end of Dogfight Giggle and experience the transition to the next index, which is indice.
Mhm.
index. Yeah. Singular
Which
is
is you don't have to camp around, which
Yeah.
is a really good song. It's actually a really
It
good
is.
song. I'm going to put that in right here. So I'm going to put that in
You'll
post.
slide that in post.
Yeah, because I want to get both songs together and I can't really find it that easily, but
Wow, that was great.
yeah, that was awesome, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you don't have to camp around. There's, I don't know, a lot of pretty clear homosexual
Oh yeah.
things going on in that one. And he's
Mhm.
lisping for the cymbals too at one point. At first you think it's cymbals, but if you're listening with headphones, you hear him going.
Yeah.
That's a
Kinda
very
wild.
Todd thing. Yeah.
I don't like the daddy don't like it. That makes me feel bad.
Yeah, it's stuff about limp wrist and
Right.
Yeah, my guess was that, he had a friend that he was talking about.
Mm. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Well, but then, the rather innocuous statement that daddy don't like it makes you wonder, is there abuse behind that, or is that, how heavy is that?
It's somebody else's
That
like,
lyric.
organ thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume
Or-
that was just general prejudice against,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a gay character in the
because
father.
he pretty clearly
Please.
says, I don't care, it doesn't bother me, he makes that clear that he's do whatever you want, he's not going to pass judgment on that. He makes that
Yeah.
crystal clear. So
Mhm.
I would, I'd make the assumption that what he was talking about there is that other people have prejudice against such things.
Yeah. Well, I know Lisa liked Flamingo.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one seemed to me to be the most Frank Zappa inspired. From the burnt weenie sandwich era.
Mhm.
It sounded like Holiday in Berlin or ABC, AYBE space SEA, ABC. But they have that kind of same keyboard sound. This is the one that.
Huh. Now, which came out first?
I don't know, but he was listening to a lot of Frank Zappa at the time, so I could see the. I mean, it's not. I'm not saying it's a ripoff, but
I'm not either. I just came into
I'm
my
saying
head
it's. Yeah, you
Let's
should
call
listen
it
to Burnt Weenie Sandwich.
an homage.
Yeah, it's just
Whoever did
it's what was
it,
influencing
it's
him
a
because
homage.
that's what he was getting into.
Mhm. I thought that it was more prog than psychedelic. Sounded more prog to
Yeah.
me. Maybe the keyboards and stuff.
Yeah,
But yeah, I liked it.
1970 was Burnt Weenie Sandwich.
Okay.
That's the album name, the Frank album.
Gotcha. Well, and I heard him on that interview with Marin. He was a big fan of Zappa.
Yeah.
At one point, Marin tried to, make the comparison between him and Zappa, and Rundgren was flattered. So yeah, but I know Aaron, I know you like Zen Archer. You said that's possibly your favorite.
Oh dear, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I've got a very different. Zen Archer has always made me very uncomfortable. Yeah, no, you cannot remove anything from the album. But so Zen Archer, see, so it's very uncomfortable because something beautiful is being destroyed, apparently without much reason or cause. Which I'm like, I wonder, because a Zen Buddhist would never destroy anything for the act of for just destroying something. So I'm curious, did Todd at that time not really understand Zen Buddhism, and he was using the term Zen Archer and in some way that really didn't connect with Zen or Zen Archers, or because it's a disturbing kind of
it's a disturbing song.
It's a disturbing song, and
I think it's appropriate after You Don't Have to Camp Around, though, because it's got another homosexuality reference, the love that's never spoken.
I don't know that has to be.
It could be, it could not be. I mean, that's reading something into it.
Yeah, I didn't read that into it, but
I only read it into it after kind of looking at Camp Around, two indices earlier.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I do love the sax solo toward the end, and then all the arrows whistling and the thudding into trees. That's why I love the song so much.
The sound that's portrayed. You're put into an environment. You're absolutely, you have reached another destination, which is another reason why I'd argue against the Camp Around still going into that, is because you're definitely
it was separated by Flamingo too.
That's right. Yeah. So you're definitely in an absolute new place in Zen Archer. But I've just always found a disconnection there between
on the end of the shaft of Zen Archer.
Yeah, and I just don't see a Zen Archer killing things like the way described. So I've always found a difficulty in resolving my understanding of that.
Part of his bad trip.
Yeah.
Musically, I thought that it held similarities to Luna Matsumare, which is the wedding song from The Godfather. Or maybe even Hava Nagila. I just felt like it had
the kind of a squeeze box thing at the beginning. Yeah.
I don't know. I hear weird shit sometimes. Let me play a little bit of this.
With a silver arrow lying at its side, rivers of blood, oceans of fear, life without death, and death without reason. To the whole United Nations, to your greatest expectations, to the moment.
Right toward the end there, it was kind of a klezmer vibe.
Yeah. Who's the dark figure? What is the dark figure stepping out of the shadows? What is that?
That's the Zen Archer.
The Zen Archer. Okay.
Stepping out of the shadows and killing all the pretty birds.
Yeah.
Killing them left and right.
Which a Zen Archer shouldn't be doing.
If he was truly Zen.
Yeah. Un-Zen Archer. I don't
follow a path of peace. The 10th index is Just Another Onion Head. Dali.
Yeah. Yes. So that's straight up. That's straight up. A nod to Salvador Dali. As almost the whole album is.
Aha.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all kinds of melting and mirror kind of stuff going on in the album. It's
right. So that's must have been why I thought it recalled Alice in Wonderland a little bit, even though, the beginning Onion Head has a stop and start tempo, but Dali is surrealist that way, kind of. But it's the Dada Dali is to the tune of Tootsie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least
From-
part of it.
That's a song from the, I don't know, turn
Depends
it
to switch it
Yeah.
up.
20s or something.
20s, 1920s. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that's like,
refers to like your soft alarm clocks quake me, and
yeah,
which is, you got the famous melting clocks. And
Yep.
Boil your beans. Is it another one? That's,
right.
know, got-
Like that's the era that Tim and Connie got
Paramount
dancing
Station.
to occasionally and stuff. So,
Yeah. Well, the 20s. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when Salvador Dali was at his heyday. Yeah, absolutely.
Lobster telephone friend.
Mm.
But the one I had to research a little bit. If you don't get a dead mule, you'll know that I'm in heat. I think that comes from a movie he made, a short film, Un Chen Andalou, in which there were dead mules in pianos or something weird.
I will have to look that up. Huh.
But yeah, it's
Further
just
research.
The whole
Yeah.
song's full of Dali references.
Yeah.
And
Another Virgin Mary, another case of shut. Have another helping, prime cut the baby's butt. A sip of holy water, a shot of saving grace. Another Western mystic.
prime cut of baby's butt. You want the obvious, you'll get the obvious. He calls out Groucho in that too. He says, was it something just like Groucho said, you're just another onion head, something like that.
okay.
And we
Seems
flow
fitting.
into the next index, when the shit hits the fan and Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I like that lyric. I like it when he sings it when the shit hits the fan. There's something about that. There's the echo and everything, and he's out of key. But
Yeah.
you know,
Oh, the production and seems like every decision made in this is just incredible.
mhm. Totally appropriate that he would sing that out of key though. When this shit hits the fan. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yeah,
Uneven, kind of uneven. But
all
it's,
kinds. Everything's going bad. He's in London. And they blew up half of Scotland Yard. Or he's driving down the mountain. His brakes are cut.
yeah. Empire State Building's in his front lawn.
As long as he gets back to LA, he's gonna be fine. Once he gets down to Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah.
I think you have a personal bias on that one, Aaron.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And then we're at the end of International Feel in 8
Mm-hmm.
is La Feel Internacionale. Wait another year, Utopia is here.
And there's always more.
And there's there's more.
Yeah, the reprise.
There is
So
more.
the original, the first index
Uh-huh.
on side one, that was done. The instrumental was a little bit different. There's more people playing on this version
Yeah,
of La Fille Internationale.
more instruments,
Yeah,
maybe fewer effects, maybe not.
right. Maybe not. But you know, that's interesting. They decided to reprise the song. I mean, you see that quite a bit in a lot of
But
albums.
usually the reprise would be at the end of the whole thing. This is just at the end of
Right.
the side.
Yeah. Again, another example of Todd Rundgren just kind of saying, you know, I make my living as a producer. This is my vision. I'm going to take it whatever direction I want to. Doesn't matter, you know, this is my album. Sometimes I don't know what to feel.
That one feels like a something anything song.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
It's he's coming down from his trip now.
Yeah, that's the way I've always felt is that once you get to the other side, now you've turned around and you're coming back, you're coming down for the trip. What, you're coming back around, you're now having to deal with life and the surrealism starts to go away, and now you're having to deal with sort of like people and things.
But you lifted the matrix, and now it's starting to come back.
Yeah, that's the way I've always perceived it. Yeah.
I thought there was some love in this world, but I guess I was wrong. Kind of disillusion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Strong
Pretty
horns.
melancholy song.
Yeah.
Let me play. I like
very
the horns.
Todd song. This is
Sometimes I don't know. Sometimes I don't know. I just don't know what to feel. Sometimes I don't know.
Jazzy,
Sometimes
kind of jazzy.
that piano in the beginning of the song. You can see why they've referred to him as the male Carole King.
I was wondering why they called him the male Carole King. You're saying
He was getting that reputation prior to this album, pretty much.
yeah?
He's just kind of a, singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and especially that song, I think, sounds kind of like not, kind of same vibe as the beginning of I feel the earth move under my feet,
Yeah.
Instead, I mean, the tempo is different, but it's banging the same notes.
Right. Oh shit. You know what? I had to,
Take a break.
yeah. Do you mind if we take a break for a second?
Oh, good.
All right. We don't have too much more of the album to go here, but
Yeah.
that might be helpful. I want to look up some.
Have a word from our sponsor. I'll
Yeah.
get rid of some of this liquid.
Yeah. Does anybody love you is an important one, so we want to be fresh for that.
Yeah. What's on your shirt? Oh, a cat. A space helmet. That's a cat in a space helmet. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, that's Astro Cat. I'm totally into Astro Cat right now.
Astro Cat's a thing?
Oh shit, yeah.
Is it a music thing or something else?
No, just a cat.
Must be
It's like a cat on a bowling shirt.
comic strip or something.
No, it's more or less a Art Deco Marvin the Martian-esque kind of thing. And yeah, I mean we had a kitchen rug full of Astro Cat stuff. I think some of my other Astro Cats are in the laundry here, but yeah, Astro Cat is definitely a thing, and it's grooving.
This episode of Aaron's Audio Audibles is brought to you by Astro Cat.
That's right, yeah.
Astro Cat for all of your space cat needs.
That's right. Well, we're back. So a couple things that I didn't mention from my Wikipedia
Dive.
archaeology.
Uh-huh.
He was inspired by Laura Nero's Eli in the 13th Confession, an album from like this 1968. In fact, he reached out to her. That was part of his inspiration. Sonny Boy Williamson, familiar with. And as we know, he's very innovative musically. And my boss went and saw him back in 2015, Todd Rundgren, and noticed his use of the spectrogram on a song called Rise from his album Global. And that's a technique that I think he's used in other respects, but in this respect, it's where the visual represents, or music represents a visual. In this case, it was a barber's light, a barber's light outside the
The striped
Yeah.
pole.
Yeah, and the constant drawing of the eyes upwards as it
The movement.
spins.
Mhm. Yeah, following the spiral.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there's a couple fun facts as we dive back into the album here.
I've done that. Sat there and watched the barber pole while I was waiting for somebody to pick me up.
Yeah, it's mesmerizing, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you can pass time doing that, sure.
Yep. You can pass
Kind of
time.
cool to have a barber pole, but I don't think anybody else in the house would approve.
No, be kind of weird, but
little
it'd be fitting for you
You
to.
could get candy canes on a spinner.
Mhm.
Oh, that's Christmas. Like anybody could do that.
Well, yeah.
It could have been appropriate
That
for
way,
Funkadelic,
you
because
know,
remember we talked about
Could have been.
Parliament
Yeah.
starting in a barbershop.
Yeah,
yeah.
that was our previous episode of Aaron's Audio Audibles.
Right.
But now we're moving into
Moving on from AstroCat and the Wikipedia stuff.
Does Anybody Love You? Out of the index of Sometimes I Don't Know What to Feel into the index of Does Anybody Love You?
Right.
Yeah, and there's a little piece of one of the things like I mentioned earlier, for me, was really the philosophy and that Todd brings to so much of his music that I've found so attractive and insightful and inspiring. And so one of the things that really I've just sometimes you listen to something and then just a little piece of it pops back unintentionally at random into your head for the rest of your life from an album. And Love Between the Ugly is the most beautiful love
That's
all.
That's the only note I took on the song.
Yeah, that's something that is just, it's been one of the, it's I can't call it an earworm because I don't have the music with it, but just that
line is
that line. I mean, it's been with me ever since the first time I heard the album, and just from time to time, I'll see something that I see, you see some sort of someone helping someone or doing something or whatever, in which there is no, apparent motivation of self for the purpose of doing something, and someone caring for someone or something else, and there's obviously it isn't, because it's not easy to put into words, and the more it's like anything that's Zen, the more you talk about it, the farther away you get from it. But it's just been something that it has stuck with me and been with me ever since the very first time I listened to the album through the rest of my life.
Yeah, that is a great line. That's, like I said, the only note I took is love between the uglies, the most beautiful love of all.
Mm-hmm.
And then we flow into the medley.
Right.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. You could take, you could listen to that 10-minute piece of music, pluck it out and listen to that independently.
Especially,
of the album,
Yeah, especially Cool Jerk. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. I recognized the song. I only knew it as an earworm and didn't know what it actually said. I didn't know it was actually Cool Jerk. But yeah, I love Ooh Baby Baby and La 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 means I love you. Those are really soulful songs. I mentioned to you guys earlier today, I was like, hardcore Todd fans, but you know what? The more I listen to this, I don't look at them that way. I think about like Rush. An old joke is, that they don't have any female fans, that it's all geeky, dudes that like Rush. But I don't really think he really falls into that, after.
No, he's got too many ballads.
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't. He's more.
there's
You got
definitely a lot
Hello,
of
It's
female,
Me and
yeah,
Saw the
plenty of
Light.
female fans, yeah.
Right. So let me see. We should play just a little bit of this because it's kind of
Thankfully, because it was the only interest and hobby I had for many decades that actually had females had an interest.
Yeah, I guess you don't get a lot of with the
early computer geeks that are into motorcycles and all the other interests I had. And Todd was it for one of my interests that actually was that was co-ed, so
Yeah.
Once you found the female pilot or flight
well,
attendant.
but
yeah, well, Connie flies, right?
Connie flies. Well, she got her
You did
pilot's
find a
license.
female pilot.
Well, she got her pilot's license after we got
Subsequently, I
married.
know.
So but she rode a motorcycle. She was riding a motorcycle before I was. She was riding a motorcycle. I started riding when I was 13, and she started riding before I did.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Got that
yeah.
on.
There's that.
I know I
Keep the shiny side up, as they say.
but I'm only human. You've made mistakes too. I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby.
Yeah, he's coming down from his trip and turned on the radio.
Yeah. Well, I think even if I don't know if the singing.
Got some Philadelphia soul coming in.
Yeah.
Right.
Some George driving music.
Yeah. Even if I don't know if the singing is better than the originals of those, but probably production wise and everything else, they're
It's
on point.
probably not worse.
Yeah. Right. So that is a very good section. I know Lisa, if she were here, she would tell you that she likes
She's
that.
under there.
Yeah, she's there. She's there.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
Got the last track.
No, we got 4 more.
That was the medley. We got the next
Oh, yeah.
one's Hungry for Love.
Yep.
I have notes about the medley, but they're over there.
Oh,
Carl.
let's hear Lisa's notes.
They're under my microphone.
Right.
I don't think he wants my notes. One of them is actually, I found it to be somewhat hurdy-gurdy. But I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Like hurdy-gurdy man, like Donovan?
Yeah, that kind of sound, the hurdy-gurdy sound.
Like an actual hurdy-gurdy.
Yeah,
Um,
you should be able to find that.
That's the squeeze box thing. That's
Yeah.
what we heard in
Now, is the squeeze box the same as a,
accordion.
yeah. Or is it-
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's like
visualized
a-
something else entirely.
Okay.
it's like
There's the accordion that's good size and
It's a
has the
sweet-
it's the
keyboard.
one without
and
it's the one without a
box is
keyboard.
kind of a
Yeah.
bonus.
That's because Tim's
Right.
thinking of a new song, right?
That's
Yeah,
right.
he's thinking of
Mr.
Mama.
Townsend. That's yeah.
I got that.
Goes in and out and in and out and in.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, here's Lisa's notes. I'm proud, repetitive. Ooh, baby, baby.
I like that, I think.
Don't make me harm my album. I'm gonna move this before I spray on it.
It just
No,
says
don't take me seriously. I'm not really much of a.
No, he was laughing. He wasn't taking you seriously. He almost
Okay,
spit out
okay.
his beer.
ooh,
Onto
baby,
his Todd
baby, I
album.
like. La 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 means I love you.
Yeah, nothing. I got nothing.
Except music has warts except for chorus. Cool jerk.
That's work.
Favorite but too fast.
Mhm.
There you go.
Of the medley.
Of the medley.
She did say up front that she's tone deaf. Too.
Yeah.
Right. But that's really if you read the rest of her
It's the
notes,
ultimate
that's
Al.
everything we
Yeah.
do.
You can get away with any. She can get away with saying
Yeah.
anything that way.
I love Weird Al.
Yeah,
We share a birth date.
right. You're so similar.
Not really.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've always made my own lyrics to the songs, and mine are pretty good.
Well, Tim
I
probably
did.
doesn't know that we met Weird Al
Yeah,
recently.
we met Weird Al.
Yeah.
Weird Al came up on something. What was it? Was it a Family
Probably.
Guy? Or
Did you
We
watch
mentioned him on
the
every one of our podcasts.
Did you watch the mockumentary, the biopic thing on
That was funny.
Roku TV? I don't know if you have a Roku. But,
Yeah, yeah.
You can watch it
the
better
guy
when you have
Daniel
one.
Radcliffe, Harry Potter, plays Weird Al, and it's hilarious. Weird Al like produced it. He's in it.
I
Yeah, it's
saw
like-
a preview for that. I
Oh,
did.
it's
That was
so
interesting.
fucking funny. I
You
don't,
know, it
I,
was-
I don't want to spoil it for you, but
I watched something
Donna is
animated.
evil.
Yeah. I watched something animated recently. It was like a Family Guy or a American Dad or something, and there was one of those little cutaway scenes with a Weird Al thing, and that's gonna bug me until I remember what it was.
Yeah, he gets around.
3 a.m. You'll sit bolt
Yeah.
upright and know what it was.
Bill Maher interviewed him recently as well. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Hungry for Love. I thought it had like a Shakey's Pizza piano opening kind of. That was kind of different.
Mm.
The references to food are funny. Nothing fills a man when he's hungry for love. I would have loved to hear Parliament do that or Funkadelic do that and have that
Now it's a
baritone.
sweet Jamaican,
Yep.
snowy spoon of powder,
Yep. Yep.
half a pint of Bushmills.
Yeah, I
Nothing
didn't know what
gets you
Bushmills
high
were when
you're
I first
hungry
heard
for
that.
love.
So that
Yeah.
for a while there was
Isn't that
like,
rare?
What's a Bushmill?
yeah.
Should be.
This has a killer guitar solo with what I'm guessing is a tuba accompanying it. Could be a trumpet, but there's a weird horn like doing the bassy parts.
Mm-hmm. I thought it had a good sense of humor.
Yeah.
Maybe the funniest
Yeah. Yeah.
song. on the
Yeah.
album.
Yeah, kind of take you out of the, you got a little into the whole, bit. Now we're starting to make light
Now-
of things
Yeah.
and
He
get our
came
sense of
down and
humor
he's
back.
hungry.
Yeah,
perfect.
that's right. It's the munchies first
Yeah,
part
when
of
you think
the
about it,
intro.
Weird Al is a perfect segue into this one because of the food, the food themed songs,
That's true.
humor. So let's go ahead and play a little bit of this.
Okay.
Half a pound of Bushmills. Nothing gets you high when you're hungry for love. Give me love. Make it feel alright. Give me love. Help me sleep at night. Give me love. Give me one more bite. I'm hungry for love. Give me love. Give me love. Woo! Give me
Okay.
Give me some love.
No. Hey, keep cutting it off right when he's getting into
Spoken like a true fan. It's like you gotta get the whole album now. You got to hear the whole album. We're not going to do that here, but
What did Homer say to Lisa? Never stop in the middle of a hoedown.
yeah,
Nope, you might run into somebody
yeah.
again.
But yeah, I would have loved to heard P-Funk do that because I would have liked to hear some of the lyrics sung by that guy with the baritone.
Wanna hear the guy say sweet Jamaican.
Yeah.
I got jam in my knees.
You should have seen Aaron on Tim. You should have seen Aaron on Maniacal Music Musings last night. He had those guys.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was throwing out so much funk that they were sliding on the floor on it. You know,
Oh, nice.
he hit them with some stuff that they had never heard before and some references and things. So I think Jeremy had to get up and walk his dog or something at one point.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh, you listened to the thing.
Yeah, I did. I was out there
Yeah,
grilling, so I listened to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking and the dog's like howling for about, I don't know, 2 minutes or so, and he says, I think I gotta take my dog outside. And so we're kind of stalling and going slow and tap dancing around, trying to wait for him to get back. And the concept of the show is I bring the guest brings an album, and the two co-hosts both listen to it, and then they come up with their own album each based on that. And then everybody picks ranks their 5 favorite tracks. But apparently you can have as many fucking honorable mentions as you want. So
Yeah, right. Yeah.
so yeah,
But
we
yeah.
did Funkadelic Maggot Brain. And if you've never heard that, give it a listen, man.
Yeah. I keep wanting to come on here and be objective and like, oh, this is trash. You know, Aaron, what the hell are you doing? This is like, I'd never listened to this. But you listen to something 3 or 4 times,
You're hooked.
and all of a sudden it's like, this is a good album too. Actually, it's like,
Yep.
I'm not gonna rip it. This is a good album.
So Todd
Sometimes
produced.
you listen 3 times and it's still trash.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
That can happen.
So Todd produced XTC, and when I first heard the album, I didn't like it, but but thankfully, because I'm with a bunch of Todd freaks, they're playing the produced stuff, and they played it over and over again, and then I don't know what happened. It just second or third time maybe it's just like, oh my God, and now it's absolutely one of the XTC's Todd produced album and then the one after are 2 of my favorite albums of all time in my life. I mean, it's just everything from Dear God and Oranges and Lemons and just everything. It's just like that music. I can't imagine myself not loving it from the first note I ever heard, but I didn't. I know that when I first heard it, it didn't chime with me, but it is, every bit of it, as far as I'm concerned, is absolute godsend.
I find a lot of music like that. I think a lot of complicated music like that.
Yeah.
Especially like Frank Zappa.
Yeah. And a lot of times if it sounds good the first time,
3 or 4 times, and then or it might take 10 times, and then it's like, oh my God, now I get it.
Yeah. Whereas if you like it right away, a lot of times that you find that's the bubblegum music, and then it wears out pretty quick, it loses its flavor.
Too
hooky. On the bedpost overnight. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just like overly infectious, sometimes it become like too sweet, too rich.
Toothy.
Overly too much of a good thing.
Too much of a good
sounds like to me.
Overindulgent.
I know what you're trying to say, but you're making it sound too good.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Saccharin, not sugar.
There you go. There you go.
All right.
With the aftertaste.
17, index 17. I don't want to tie you down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's back to being the male Carole King. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good love song.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great sentiment. I don't want to be an anchor on you. I don't want to weigh you down. Interesting that he invokes Jesus at one point. You said he's Buddhist, right?
No, I wasn't saying he's
Nah,
Buddhist at all.
He's
I was
talking
just,
about the Zen Archer.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm Buddhist. So
I made that
ish.
assumption though, based on the Zen
I'm not
Archer.
Buddhist. I'm a big fan of Zen. I'm not
You're
Buddhist.
Buddhist.
Buddhist. Yeah,
You're
I
bullish
very
on
much.
Buddha.
I very much appreciate Zen and Zen stories and Zen mantras and
Zen
Zen
koans.
thinking, but
Yeah.
traditional Buddhism is not my thing. I don't believe in reincarnation but the Dalai Lama rocks.
Yeah. Well, it's a good message. It's a good practice.
So the Dalai Lama is. The Dalai Lama's form of Buddhism is sort of like the closest that any mainstream religion, in my opinion, gets to sort of like the science and rational thinking for a mainstream religion. So I have a great deal of appreciation for that.
Yeah. Seems
I get it. I do.
seems more logic based.
Yeah.
Mhm. But I thought it was interesting that he invoked Jesus in this song. I just thought it was kind of random, but then there again, I guess that's his MO.
Randomness.
I don't
Yeah.
even remember a Jesus line.
He says, I don't want to I don't want to nail you down. He
I
says,
think I think it's
Uh,
I think it's just a reference. I've never taken that as a religious
yeah,
reference.
nah.
It's just like I just never connected
It's
that
the
with
next extreme from "Don't Want to Tie You Down." Yeah.
yeah.
Baby.
well, I thought I heard the name Jesus actually uttered.
It
Maybe.
is. Yeah. Jesus, I don't want to nail you down.
Huh.
But I just don't.
That is funny. That is
that,
wordplay.
I took it more of as a wordplay, a pun,
That's awesome. Yeah.
entendre kind of thing,
Yeah.
as opposed to like Jesus,
Right.
that kind of
Yeah.
thing.
All right. Well, is it my name? I have a lot to say about this one.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I like this. It's a good.
Oh, good. I thought you were gonna rip on it because
I like it.
I like it too. So
Yeah.
and like I said, every time I listen to this album, it means something different to me. It's a journey album that there's a different journey every time I listen to it, every time. But there's been a lot of times in my life where someone didn't there was what's from my vocabulary. How come you guys do this so late? My vocabulary is gone. So you're not sort of getting the feeling back out of someone that
It's only 6:30.
putting into but Gilbert and Sullivan.
We're not getting the 9 a.m.
theatrical.
Complaining packets and
Theatrical.
As soon as we hang up, I'll think of it.
Gilbert and Sullivan.
Oh well, but anyway, the point I'm getting is sometimes you're like, well, why is it this person isn't grooving on me when you groove on them or something? What we, what's causing this chemistry not to mix or whatever.
Interesting juxtaposition. This song from the one before it. I don't want to tie you down. Now is it my name? He's chasing.
Yeah. Why is it that why isn't this? Yeah.
Is it something as random as my name, right? Is it something, what is it? I can't, that's
You
how.
only love me for my machine. But this is a second or possibly third reference to homosexuality, though. My voice goes so high you would think I was gay, but I play my guitar in such a man-cock way.
Yeah. I wouldn't read too much into that, but yeah,
I don't read anything into it, but it's I think
yeah.
It's
hard
while the matrix is off, everything's fluid, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, here's what it made me think of. George Carlin.
Yeah.
He did
George
a routine about how Todd was the, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it's like he identified the name Todd as the most obnoxious name there is. He does.
Oh, so it wasn't about Todd Rundgren. It was just about Todd as being an
Just Todd in general. Yeah, he said.
Okay.
That's funny.
I'll play it right here. But I wonder if Carlin was not a fan of Todd Rundgren. Listened to this song and was thinking, he's so paranoid about his name, or it's a play off of this song, and it got me thinking about my own name.
I think George Carlin is one of the most observational people we've ever had on the planet, and he's probably noticed that people
Yeah.
named Todd or
Well,
for whatever reason. Apologies to any Todds out there. I don't know.
oh yeah, it's totally random, and but for him to make such a big deal out of that makes me wonder if it wasn't a callback to this, because that was his
Yeah.
time, and you can imagine he was probably a fan of.
I
Frank
could see him being like in high school and some girl saying, "But your name's Todd."
I remembered my word.
Oh, good.
Oh, good, yeah.
Unrequited.
Requited.
Unrequited.
Unrequited.
not
Yeah. Gilbert
returned.
Sullivan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, that's a good one. Unrequited.
Unrequited love. Yes.
But it got me to think about my own name and how, I'm paranoid about my own name
You are?
because my last name is Huey, and that's kind of a
Uh-huh.
weird name. My dad used to say that it was Asian
Really?
as a joke.
Oh,
And
Mm.
a
Like
bad
who?
joke. And at least one time Lisa went to an appointment and they called for Mrs. Hui.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a funny name. It's named after a duck. It's named after a helicopter. And if your name is Philip, it creates this little, audible Pewee right in the middle. Of thing. Pewee.
I never thought
Pewee.
about that.
I didn't either.
I've known you since 7th grade. I've known you since we were like 12.
So like how inhibiting could someone's name be? How could you take someone
Hold on. Tim's doing math.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
I'm 54 minus 12 would be 42 years ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's overthinking it, obviously, but that's where my mind started drifting when I listened to this song today, when I really kind of dove into it, But anyway, let's play a little bit of
Oh, Pewee. Well, I always just say Phil, not Philip.
That's why I asked you.
I don't hear the music.
I was about to say, are we supposed to be hearing more?
You don't hear it?
Love unrequited.
That's
Now I hear it.
you hear it now?
I did. Now I don't.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna put it in later anyway.
Okay.
So yeah. Sometimes what happens is you're like
pretty frantic at the end.
if your feed is dominant, it'll take over the sound that's coming from the phone. It'll draw it away and
Like
So
a noise canceling effect.
yeah. So I have to go back in and add it, but that's cool. It sounds better anyway once you do. But
Then the final sequence is usually the final song in Todd concert.
mm-hmm.
It became his closer, and he said people get mad when he doesn't do it. So
When has that bothered him before?
yeah, I don't know.
So I learned something when you guys invited me.
It is a good closer. Oh, what did you learn?
Because we're doing the text chat that before the show and brought up Just One Victory, and so I wanted to look that up to because basically I thought I should know a little bit more about it. I've just kind of taken it a little bit for granted, and one of the things that I found out when I did a quick little Google is that a Dream Goes On Forever may have actually been intended to be on A Wizard of True Star and ended up going on to the Todd album.
Yeah.
Named Todd as opposed to Todd
Right.
album. It's not named Todd or whatever.
Yeah,
So
it's not
yes.
Russ.
Yeah, and Dream Goes On Forever, it seems to fit better with this album. And I was like, okay, and in retrospect, that seems to make a great deal of sense to me. And
So we take that song, put it on this album, and we take what was the song I said belonged on Something Anything? Sometimes I don't know what to feel.
I wouldn't mess with that.
There's probably room on Something Anything for another track. It's too good.
It's I just added.
Hey Todd, let us just fuck with your masterpiece here.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's what mixtapes are for, right?
No, that's what I was going to do. Yeah, put on the end of the mixtape. Yeah. So Dave Brigham, I mentioned him earlier when I said I couldn't take the cover off my sealed Wizard of True Start because he would lose his mind. He made a mixtape for me. Beatles. It wasn't a mixtape. It was, but he didn't tell me it was. So he recorded a Beatles album for me because he had all kinds of vinyl and I didn't. And he put a couple extra songs on the end. And for the longest time, I thought they were Beatles songs. They weren't. No, they were. I don't remember which ones they were. I'll have to ask him or find the tape again. But there are two songs at the end, which were one of them was wasn't Carole King's Little Houses on the Hillside. Little Houses.
Yeah,
for
the theme from Weeds.
Yeah,
Alvina Reynolds.
Yeah. So, and I thought that was a freaking Beatles song for years. Because he put that on there and didn't tell me.
Little houses made a ticky-tacky.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I thought that was a freaking Beatles song for decades.
That's hilarious.
Until
one
day I was playing the Beatles album. I was like, hey, it's missing those two. Brigham is such an audiophile. I mean, he probably had some. I figured he had some kind of special promo edition with extended tracks or some
had blank space
shit on it, and he just had blank space he wanted to use up. Yeah, and didn't bother to educate me on the fact that he had thrown those in there.
You didn't know about filler.
Yeah. So.
It's like a hidden track.
Community that's spelled with
I suffered psychological damage from that. If you can't tell.
Well, like, what if you got all the way to Jeopardy or some kind of game show where you had a national?
He could have cost me millions.
You answered the Beatles and embarrassed yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I have one more thing.
Buzzin'.
Just One Victory. I like that falsetto thing where they go, "Hold that line, baby, hold that line. Get up, boys, and hit them one more time."
Yeah.
While the whole thing's going on, that's kind of in the background.
It's got an almost evangelical sound to it. It's optimism. I wonder why a politician hasn't adopted it as their theme song. Although
Todd would never let him, but I would think.
That doesn't stop them.
Are you familiar with One More Day from Something Anything?
I am not.
Okay.
I listen to Something Anything every so often, but I can't think of what One More Day is. I'll probably know it as soon as.
Oh shit! You know what? I probably got the wrong album. I'm so embarrassed now. But anyway, the two songs have something in common, where you're just basically just trying to get one little positive, one step sliding, get one step ahead because it feels like you're sliding back.
So many. One More Day, No Word. Okay.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Whew, good guy. I thought you guys had me second guessing my Something Anything. I would have had to.
But almost has a commercial appeal.
First sign of Alzheimer's. No. So yeah, I just really kind of see those two songs as being related, and those are ones that I would go to if I kind of felt like as just in one of those places where I was just falling back and not able to gain any traction or do anything, or just feeling kind of lost or unable to succeed in things. It's both of those are great songs for just kind of like buckling down and getting through whatever you're going through.
Just One Victory, One More Day, No Word.
Yeah.
I wrote something that you might not.
We're gonna have to play it now. I don't know.
Oh yeah, we're gonna. I figure we'll play it as we're going out. Like
there. Okay, there you go. Well, you have to end with. Well, you have to end with Just One Victory. So you have to play One More Day before you do One More Victory, because One More Victory has to be at the end, or some Todd folks will get mad at you, right? So
Yeah. Well, maybe as long as you play it, I don't know if it has to be last. It's in the encore.
You said One More Day, right?
That's right. I guess you could have an encore after Just One Victory, and Todd fans would be okay with that. So I think you've found a legal loophole in which that could be done with. Yeah.
Fish fans know a lot about set lists and loopholes and rules, weird arbitrary rules.
One More Day. Here we go. Well, after the commercial, of course.
Buy two, they're small.
This thing will be down. You'll be amazed. It'll be about an hour and 10 minutes when I'm done with it.
Zing.
There we go. That's it. You got it.
One more day. They said we'd be home for Christmas, but I'm still here today. One more day. I went to see the first lieutenant. He said, shut up and wait. One more day. No word. Ooh, one more day. No word.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
All right.
And then just one victory.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're on our way. That
Wait.
that winds it up.
That does wind it up. I knew it would take a little bit, but it's been a blast. I enjoy having you on. I enjoy having Connie on.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
give Connie our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lisa, you
I'll
still
let her
awake
know.
under there?
Lisa has fallen asleep.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, she
Okay.
has.
Hello.
Yeah, Connie's feeling a little under the weather. She's been working a whole lot. She's been basically doing like 80+ hour weeks. And then
Oh,
she
wow.
finally had a couple of days off, and then she got sick. So the past
Oh.
2 days she's had flu or cold symptoms, and she's just been worn out. And she's really sad because she finally got to the break she was working for, and then she got sick for it. So she needs to just one victory song, if only she liked Todd.
Yeah.
She don't. Okay.
Has she tested?
She's tested negative she's done 3 COVID tests. They're all negative. So
Tested
Well,
negative for Rundgren.
yeah, she does. She doesn't like Todd. You know, I've never tried to push it on her. He has so many different styles and stuff. I know that if I were to put my mind to it and just try and put a little something in the background every once in a while that didn't sound like the regular Todd, that should catch on. But no, I'm not going to push it and try and go there. But almost certainly there's a few things. You know, everyone likes bang on the drum, right? Almost everyone. I don't want to use too broad a generalization, but bang on the drum is usually something that most people will
Do you know that one, Phil?
enjoy.
I do. Yeah. Yeah. I found that out during the Marin podcast. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I know that one.
Been on stage for that a dozen times, maybe.
Mhm.
So that was
Twice.
big one. So nice, excellent. And then and you know that and
Not,
of
I
course,
haven't been on stage. He was.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay.
No.
And
I-
so
I was-
you'd invite audience members up during that
Oh.
song. It used to be a tradition that you'd let people
No, I
come up
didn't go.
during bang on the drum, and you'd hand out some kind of
Yeah,
like
but-
Tinker Toy kind of things. And
The House of Blues show, though, I was close enough in the front to put my hand on the stage. Yeah, bare feet
okay.
that day.
nice. And then, hello, it's me and stuff like that. So it's interesting. I've played a couple. We've been somewhere and like a Todd song will come on the radio. It's being covered by someone else, and then she'll like it. She just doesn't like his voice. If she can tell it's his voice, she doesn't like it. But if someone else is singing,
played a Japanese covers for her.
yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard about that. But yeah, it's if someone else is singing his songs, I think she's okay with it. She just doesn't like his voice for whatever reason.
It's the falsetto. It's yeah.
That's Lisa's biggest complaint too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Although I could probably read off all her complaints here, but
Consistent. It's inconsistent.
that's the overriding one.
But the falsetto.
His
Yeah.
voice is so high you'd think he was gay, but he plays his guitar in a Mancock way.
Yeah.
Mm.
So the thing is that she'll hear a Utopia song and she can't tell the difference between Todd and Kasim Sultan.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on there, but
All right, Tim. It's been a pleasure. Do you have anything you want to plug before we go?
oh, we should have warned me. No. So,
All right.
yeah. So yeah, I would say that even if Todd hasn't gone on to run for office or started the Amana colonies or something like that, I'd urge my fellow utopians to press on in your own ways, because he's not going to do it, but that leaves us, and we're going to do it. So change the world, do something good. Something small can be something good. Do something small if you can, and do something good if you can.
Right. The world needs it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
Thanks for coming on, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
My pleasure. Absolutely. So,
Thanks, Phil and Lisa.
Yep.
let
Thanks,
me know when
Lisa,
you're doing your
for
your
toughing it out
podcast
in the cold there.
Yeah, and I'm not cold anymore. So
Oh.
that's good.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let you know when we're doing our podcast on what?
Oh, I was just trying to think of what other excuses I could use to get back on your podcast.
Oh.
Well,
Anytime.
whatever
it's
you
just-
want, Tim, we love you.
Yeah. We love having you on.
Yeah.
Man. Anytime you want to come on, go ahead and tap us on the shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm all ears. So yeah. I'm good with
Science,
that.
music, animals, we don't care.
Well,
Thanks,
We'll
Will.
We'll do another
Yeah,
dive.
that,
We'll make
but
you. We'll do another dive into an album with you.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, we can do music, and don't forget, astronomy.
we got.
and
We still have.
motorcycles and-
We still have a Big Star #1 record on the books.
Yeah.
We could do me, you, Tim, Will, and Nick,
Yeah.
5-hander, and Lisa.
That'll be a Tim's audible. There's still be an Aaron's
Oh.
audible. But it
Yeah,
looks
I'm the
like
only one. I'm the only one that knew the album going in.
Yeah.
oh, Will doesn't know the album.
No,
Oh, he's pretty encyclopedic. I'm surprised.
Hmm.
Yeah. Oh well. All right.
yeah, I'll send you info on the album, and it might not be until I don't know, later in December probably. I don't know when Will's available. Did he say?
Right.
Yeah, just as long as it's not on Drinking in Dungeons night, we can probably work something out.
That's what, Tuesdays?
Yep.
All right.
Tues-
Steer clear
Tuesdays is-
Tuesdays.
Drinking in Dungeons.
Yeah, I
Okay.
wanted to get into that James Webb stuff. I mean, that's some amazing. But I'm sure your take on it will be so far over my head. I won't understand, but still, it's like I'm fascinated with that. For
No, I do
sure.
science outreach, so I hopefully can talk to a topic in such a way that everyone can comprehend it and
Yeah,
find
you do
value.
the astronomy outreach too,
That's right.
more specifically with science. All right, cool.
All right,
Change the
man.
world.
Change the world. Good
Change the
words to
world.
end it on. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
We have social.
Twitter,
Yeah, pod.
Instagram,
Yeah, pod.
Facebook,
Yeah, pod.
website.
www.yeh-uh-huh.com. So let us know. Hit us back. Have a great week.